Welcome to the podcast on excellence and equity. I'm Amanda Fox, and I'm exploring excellence and equity as a student in Harvard's CALE program with a local lens. In Jefferson County, Kentucky, where I'm from, a new school is planning the opening of its doors for 2018. The W.E.B. Dubois Academy for Young Males of Color, named for civil rights activist and first African American to earn a doctorate from Harvard. The school will serve 150 sixth grade students, eventually expanding to 8th grade in the coming years. The academy has come to fruition to address the disproportionate number of males of color in discipline referral statistics and low achievement results. The principal named to lead this vision is Robert Gunn, a decade-long educator in JCPS who believes his ability to cultivate relationships and set the bar high will help him in his endeavors. Though the school is an innovative means to address inequity, it is receiving backlash from the community for focusing on males of African American and Latino descent. Even though the school is open to all males, there has been accusations of the school itself being racist and a return to segregation. However, Marshall and Gunn say this is not segregation, but innovation. As an equity warrior, I scheduled a phone call with Dr. John Marshall, Chief Equity Officer of JCPS, and in the following interview, he walks me through why the school is needed by the community, how it is addressing inequity, and differentiates between equality and equity, separatism and innovation, which is needed in this community. The school is drawing inspiration from the Carter G. Woodson Academy in Lexington and the Ron Brown School in D.C., both of which are mentioned in the following interview with Dr. John Marshall, and both of which he has personally traveled to and visited. Let's kick off the interview.
So my first question is, why is the W.E.B. Dubois School important to you and to our community?
The main reason the school is important to our community is because it can serve as kind of a new innovative incubator on how to reach and teach our boys of color, understanding in all urban districts that we are not successfully reaching that group of students. This academy could actually, with the right practices and the right support and some innovation and leeway from the principal and others, this academy could kind of help prove that we can actually close achievement gaps, but it also improves our sense of belonging for our boys. I can only speak for this district currently, but the sense of belonging for our boys of color in Jefferson County Public Schools is pretty low. We talk a lot about achievement inside of our schools, and our boys of color aren't achieving as well as they could. But the belonging is a big part of that, and sometimes I don't think we tease that out as much as we should. In this school, it'll be a curriculum that reflects them physically, reflects their history, kind of changes the narrative from whence they come and how they got here, and kind of gives them a place to actually understand who they are and belong. But when you ask how will this help the community, you're actually changing the mindset of how you are to teach students. We're also changing the mindset of students as to what they should be taught and what they need to believe in themselves and others.
Is it a public school, a charter school, or fully public? I see you've bolstered a bunch of community support. Most of the people that attended the meeting were there in support of the school. Can you tell me if there's any specific neighborhoods, community members, families, or politicians involved, or who's doing the main founding for the school?
Yeah, I would say the whole community, for the most part, was behind it. Of course, you had those that, for whatever reason, which I respect, they didn't think the school was needed. But the majority of the community was behind it. NAACP, Urban League, Metro United Way, all those groups were very much behind this work. Our churches, for the most part, came and spoke. As you saw, I don't know if you saw the video, standing room only, not just in the boardroom, in the hallway, in the overflow room, in the parking lot. And that's the media didn't get that. We were out in the parking lot as well. It was just almost like a pep rally after the board voted on it.
Okay, can you explain the specific inequities that are being addressed by creating this opportunity for young men of color?
Access to high, rigorous classes, the desegregation of gifted and talented teaching. The students don't have to be gifted and talented, but all of the teachers will teach at that level. Access to other like-minded or similar people by race. Some other inequities that will be addressed is the content and the curriculum.
When you mention gifted and talented, is there a specific hiring process you're going through? Are there different criteria that you're looking for teachers that apply to teach at the school?
No, the principal who's been announced, Principal Robert Gunn, the teachers, to my understanding, don't have to be gifted and talented. Before the school starts, we're trying to get them back to get that endorsement. Now, if they're already gifted and talented, of course, that's a plus for you, but he has announced that his teachers will be gifted and talented trained.
So high expectations for students, high expectations for teachers. Love it. Is the school open to only men of color?
So anyone can apply. I think where the confusion comes in, it will come from a multicultural Afrocentric lens. So as where anyone can apply, you will learn about Afrocentricity and the Caribbean influence of America, and you'll learn about a heritage that's not Europeanized. Our curriculum tends to drop us off on the world stage as far as African Americans and people of color. It dropped off on the world stage at slavery as opposed to the greatness of African or African Americans even. So we're going to actually start talking about the contributions that have added to American history. My cliche is, until Hidden Figures is not hidden, curriculum is a farce.
I think everyone would benefit from this curriculum. How are you recruiting students for the school, or how is the school recruiting students?
So that actually starts October 28th at our showcase of schools, and that's for all schools, but that's when it starts. Principal Gunn has not really ironed out, or I don't know if it's ironed out or released, his selection criteria. But right now, we're just saying, if interested, come to the showcase. If interested, send us an email. So there is no you have to have a bazillion points on the middle school or elementary school standardized test.
There has been some community pushback. I'm specifically referring to some of the comments on social media. Some community members are calling it segregation all over again. How are you addressing this? How are you educating the community about how the school is good for it?
So, and I'm being completely honest with you. Our student assignment plan, we brag about saying that we have diverse schools, and I guess compared to other urban school districts, we do. But I can take you into schools right now where you might see one black child. I can take you into our behavior school for misbehavior, which is also an inequity, and you won't see any white children. So when we start talking about we're going back to segregation, I don't know if we ever left it, first of all. B, and the second part is, even inside our schools that are diverse, they don't have to always be integrated. We have students that are going into the other side of town to diversify schools, but they're sitting in the same classroom with their homeboys in the neighborhood they came from. But the argument about going back to segregation is, to me, silly, in the sense that I don't know if we've actually ever fixed integration, first and foremost. And segregation versus separation is different.
Yes. So can you explain the concept of innovation versus separation and how this is an innovative initiative? I think you've done a great job of already doing that, but just elaborate a little bit more for me.
Yeah, so first of all, the students get to pick if they want to come here. It's not forced that, orange people over here, polka dot people over here. So the students get to pick if they want to be a part of it. Secondly, as we talk about, again, the curriculum, we're looking at a curriculum that actually infuses and empowers and embodies the greatness and the vastness of people of color. So those are kind of the main things. We're actually trying to get them in front of people, adults that look like them. But you know what, even more important than that, if it is a white male teacher, white female teacher that is the most qualified to lead these boys, enlighten them, then we're going to go with that too. But at the end of the day, this school will be a place where you belong. This school will be a place where you can actually be enlightened, and you'll be allowed to be yourself. So the innovation comes from the curriculum. The innovation comes from some of the way, and it hasn't been unveiled yet, some of the ways that the master scheduling is going to be. He's going to have this part of time in the day or in the week called Talented 10th Time. If you understand W.E.B. Dubois' original thought around the Talented 10th, it was that there's a group of people that is to lead the African American community, 10% of the people that are highly qualified, highly skilled, highly intelligent, whatever you want to say, and they'll be fit to lead. Principal Gunn is going to put quality time inside of the schedule where these boys will be able to harness and build upon their passions and their desire, whether it be poetry, coding, whatever it may be. There's going to be time where they will get to be themselves inside the school and build on some skill sets that would not be found in other schools based on his innovation and desire to do master scheduling different.
One of the conversations we had in one of my meetings, we were discussing culture being a huge way to reach boys of color, and specifically, my instructor was talking about how you take a saltwater fish and you put it in fresh water and it does not thrive, but once you add the salt, it does, and the salt being a metaphor for culture. So I love leveraging culture in the curriculum as a way to address inequities, reach the kids. And it sounds like you guys are doing a great job at putting students first. So. Oh,
well, we're trying. I like that analogy. I might steal that.
Because I think a lot of the community members mix up equality and equity.
All the time.
So I'm going to try to differentiate that and explain why this school is needed and why it's innovative and why you guys are just doing a great job.
Now, I forgot to add one of the things. I don't know if you've been anywhere where I've spoken, but one of the things is I also believe that we hide behind this term diversity and we use it loosely. I have a twin brother, but when I tell you the way we learn and some of the things we believe make us very diverse, I think people get that. They make diversity feel like it's this one thing. At the end of the day, diversity, you can have a school for males of color that is very diverse. The Ron Brown School is another public school for males of color. And they have atheists, they have Muslims, they have affluents, they have impoverished. They have believers, non-believers, and this is actually all black boys.
How much inspiration are you drawing from the school in Lexington? Is it something that you're looking to model closely after, or?
So I've been going to Carter G probably since Carter G Woodson since its inception. I have visited the Ron Brown School. Both of them have come down to Louisville. We have to, being a professional pirate, you take what's working, and I am hell-bent, and so is Principal Dunn, to be the best.
Did you say professional pirate?
Yep.
Love it.
But we're just going to jack the good things and do some things that they're not doing to be great. And that's what I believe. And I don't want Carter G, and Carter G Woodson will tell you this when you talk to them. They're not trying to be what W.E.B. Dubois is. But there's room in every urban district to have this kind of school to prove that it can be done. So what you'll notice if you ever visit Carter G or call, teachers from all over the district that aren't just teaching there come to see that it can be done. Parents need to see that it can be done. Because right now there's this unspoken stoicism on, let's roll the dice, see if we can get some achievement out of this boy of color, when we can put you in a position in a school where you can see that it can be done.
Maybe we should get a community bus and carry the skeptics there.
Now you're talking.
We're going to take you to the school and show you what this concept looks like in action.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we're going to keep pushing, but I think we're on to something. I think we'll do a good job, and I'm sure that the principal that has been selected will do a gladiator's job of getting this done.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
Feel free to call, and thank you for reaching out. I'm very humbled.
Well, I think it's a great case study, and I can't wait to follow your success.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
My key takeaways from this conversation are 1. The opposition's argument that the school is a return to segregation really holds no weight or bearing when integration hasn't been done well. To recapitulate, there are disciplined schools with 100% males of color, while there are high-achieving neighborhood schools that are primarily all Caucasian. To give a little more context into Jefferson County, they operate on a cluster system. 8 to 10 schools are clustered into a boundary area, and students that live in these areas can apply to their top 3 school choices, or magnet schools which do not have boundaries, and are bused all around the district in an effort to desegregate. While sound in theory, it still doesn't address the high referral rate of men of color, and that the alternative schools are largely comprised of these demographics. It also doesn't address the segregation of gifted and talented teachers these students have access to. Which brings me to takeaway number 2. Diversity isn't one thing. When we chalk diversity up to mean the color of one's skin, we're ignoring all the other factors that contribute to a rich, diversified population. Color is one thread in a motley cloth that comprises us. Socioeconomics, religion, personal experiences, behaviors, sexual orientation, all these are other threads, and they don't stop there. Diversity will exist in the W.E.B. Dubois School, and it is not limited to men of color. It is just designed with their excellence in mind. And my last takeaway number 3, which I hope resonates with the listeners. Equality and equity are 2 different things. We have to stop confusing the 2 so we can be more equitable in our actions. And this starts with having conversations of what the difference is. Equality is treating everyone the same way and expecting the same outcome, expecting everyone to succeed from that same starting point. Equity is leveling the playing field. It is giving someone a fair chance to success. Going back to the saltwater fish metaphor, we cannot expect it to thrive in fresh water. The fresh water, in fact, makes it hemorrhage. Adjusting the water by sprinkling in some salt allows this fish to thrive. This school is creating a saltwater incubator for these kids, and I'm excited to be part of a community that in large supports such innovative efforts. This concludes my segment on equity and excellence with a Louisville lens. I would like to give a special thanks to Dr. John Marshall for that insightful interview, and to Pat McDonough for granting permissions to use the photo of Dr. Marshall in the video podcast. Check out Ed Week. He was recently featured as one of the top educators in Ed Week, and the spotlight was shown on him. Thank you.